Today, we're jumping right into the incredibly fascinating neuroscience behind the gut-brain connection. We've got a pretty simple goal here. We're going to dig into the actual biological reality underneath all that overhyped wellness marketing you see literally everywhere and finally separate the hard, established science from those trendy supplement claims.
So let's kick things off with a medical mystery that I guarantee almost all of us have experienced. You know that feeling of getting butterflies in your stomach right before a stressful event, like right before a massive presentation or a big date? Well, you might be wondering, is that just a cute figure of speech, or is there an actual biological reaction happening down there? Turns out it is a very real physical process, and it points to a direct communication line that, honestly, most of us never learned about in biology class. To understand where those butterflies come from, we have to look locally. See, your gut actually contains its very own highly extensive network of neurons. Scientists call this the enteric nervous system. And we're not just talking about a couple of stray nerve endings here. We are talking about hundreds of millions of neurons living right inside your digestive tract, constantly monitoring and managing the whole shebang. It's almost like a second brain down there. Now, connecting this gut-brain network is the absolute foundation of what we're looking at today, the vagus nerve. This isn't just some abstract woo-woo concept. It is a literal, physical nerve superhighway running straight from your gut all the way up to your brainstem. And how it functions is incredible. It basically acts as a massive sensory reporting system. It detects chemical signals in the gut, like serotonin, for example, where, get this, about 90% of your body's supply is actually produced, and it physically fires those signals straight up the highway into your brain's command center. But here's the kicker. This highway works exactly like a two-way street. First, your brain sends signals down the vagus nerve. This is exactly why mental stress causes very real physical digestive issues. But second, your gut sends signals right back up. Through this exact same nerve, your digestive system is actively firing off immune signals and bacterial compounds that can directly impact how your brain functions.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting and, frankly, a bit messy. On one hand, we have the genuine, well-established neuroscience of this vagus nerve two-way street. That's a biological reality. But on the other hand, we have consumer product claims, and wow, this is where the science gets incredibly shaky. We absolutely have to separate the documented reality of how the vagus nerve actually functions from the aggressive marketing language being used to sell you a quick fix.
If you've wandered down a supplement aisle recently or scrolled through social media, you've probably seen products marketed as Psychobiotics. Catchy, right? It's a very clever term. These are marketed as specific probiotics that claim they can improve your mental health or boost your mood by introducing specific strains of bacteria into your gut. They are essentially selling you the promise of a better brain state delivered straight through a pill for your digestive tract.
But the crucial takeaway here is super simple. Promising early research absolutely does not equal a proven treatment. Now, to be fair to the science, there are genuinely interesting early results in animal studies and even some small human trials that show modest effects on stress. But, and this is a huge but, real researchers are incredibly careful with how they frame this.
There is a massive, honest caveat that scientific reviewers repeat constantly, which, surprise, surprise, you almost never hear in a commercial. For one, human trials for these psychobiotics have very limited sample sizes. Plus, the results are highly inconsistent between different bacterial strains. Ultimately, science just hasn't figured out the exact bacterial strains or the exact doses that actually provide a reliable, repeatable effect for humans yet. It's just too early.
Unfortunately, that kind of vital scientific nuance rarely survives the jump to a shiny supplement label. Marketing teams tend to take that early, strain-specific evidence and just round it all the way up to these sweeping, guaranteed claims like heals your gut, heals your mood. They're essentially weaponizing genuine scientific excitement to sell you absolute certainty in an area where science only really has early clues.
Which brings us to another highly marketed buzzword you've probably heard thrown around: leaky gut. Now, the actual clinical scientific term for this is increased intestinal permeability. Basically, it refers to the barrier of your gut letting more things pass through into your bloodstream than it typically should. And once again, here is exactly where marketing completely outpaces the science. Increased intestinal permeability is a real measurable phenomenon for sure, but it is primarily found in very specific diagnosed conditions like inflammatory bowel diseases. In the wellness marketing world, however, it is wildly overapplied as a catch-all diagnosis to explain away general fatigue, brain fog, or mood issues in otherwise completely healthy people.
So, with all of this exaggerated marketing constantly blurring the truth, it begs a very valid question. Should we just throw our hands up in the air and ignore gut health completely? Like, is the whole thing just a giant scam?
The answer is absolutely not. Please don't walk away from this thinking gut health is meaningless. The underlying biology, that extensive enteric nervous system, and the direct high-speed connection of the vagus nerve is entirely real. And what's more, our dietary patterns genuinely do influence our gut microbiome in ways that plausibly matter for our overall well-being and our mood. The connection is absolutely there. It's just the expensive, quick-fix products that are the problem.
So instead of turning to those expensive proprietary blends with fancy trademark names, let's look at what the more established evidence actually supports. We're going to walk through 3 practical, genuinely evidence-based interventions for improving your gut health broadly, all based on the real science of how the gut and brain communicate.
First off, research consistently links a wide variety of dietary fiber sources to a much more diverse, robust gut microbiome. Eating a really diverse range of fibers is vastly superior to relying on any single trendy superfood powder or a solitary supplement pill. It's like a garden, right? Your gut bacteria thrive on variety, not just some single magic bullet. Second up, proven fermented foods. Getting regular whole food fermented options into your diet, things like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi, these have far more established research behind them as reliable sources of beneficial bacteria than most of those expensive supplement blends on the market. Plus, they definitely don't come with that massive wellness marketing markup.
And third, and this goes right back to how the vagus nerve functions as a bidirectional highway, managing your stress directly is actually a hugely effective evidence-based gut intervention. When you actively lower your stress, your brain actually alters the electrical and chemical signals it fires down the vagus nerve. That means addressing your mental stress can meaningfully improve your physical gut symptoms. Fixing the brain, quite literally, helps the gut.
Really, the crucial point to take away from this explainer is a vast, fundamental distinction. There is a massive difference between a fascinating area of science that is actively being researched, which the gut-brain connection absolutely 100% is, versus a product that is proven, tested, and actually ready to be sold to you.
The reality is, your gut is definitely communicating with your mood. Scientists are mapping out the exact complex signals traveling up and down that vagus nerve right this second. But your incredibly complex biological system almost certainly isn't sitting around waiting for a $40 trademark supplement to finally start listening. A balanced, varied diet and managing your day-to-day stress levels, those are the real heroes here.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on about your own biology. Think back to your own life and your own experiences. Have you ever personally noticed your gut and your mood seemingly moving in tandem? How did that actually feel for you, and how did you manage it? Keep exploring how beautifully complex your body truly is, because there's always more to learn. Thanks for joining me today.